Hello, Parev. This is Anoush Bargamian, and I want to thank you for joining us at the Medz Mamas. So today, my son Sevan will ask me some questions about my grandma, his great-grandmother, Esgouhi.
What are your first memories of her, and how did she come to this country?
Esgouhi Hajian is my maternal Medz Mama. Medz Mama is the Armenian word for grandmother. All four of my grandparents came from the Armenian highlands, the ancestral homeland of Armenians for several millenniums until the Armenian genocide. All of my grandparents settled in Providence, Rhode Island. My grandma Esgouhi was the only living grandparent I knew as a child and young adult. My first memories of my grandma's home revolved around her kitchen. I remember the aroma of spices and herbs that she used in Armenian dishes like dolma, kufta, and stew. She was born in Palubarin, Kharpet, Turkey, on January 6, 1906, on Armenian Christmas. In 1915, her father Bedros died just prior to the outbreak of the Armenian genocide. From 1915 to 1923, the Ottoman Turkish government systematically planned the brutal annihilation of its Christian population, including Greeks, Assyrians, and Armenians. In 1915, at the age of 9, my grandmother, her 3 siblings, and her mother Anna, along with villagers, were forced to leave their homes by Turkish soldiers. They ended up marching through the Syrian desert and reached a refugee camp in Aleppo. My grandmother and great-grandmother survived and stayed at the refugee camp. They eventually traveled to Marseille, France, and then on to the United States, arriving in Providence, Rhode Island in 1922. At the age of 18, Grandma married Esgouhi Hajian. They had 4 children and settled down in Rhode Island. My mother Kohad was their firstborn, followed by Anahid, Harochun, and Jeffrey. Together, my grandparents filled their new life in a new country with new dreams and joyous memories. Grandma's home was filled with Armenian meals, music, newspapers, and conversation. As a young adult, I came to understand Grandma's determination to preserve an Armenian identity.
What Armenian traditions did she keep?
My Medz Mama Esgouhi also kept Armenian traditions alive, especially at Easter. My grandmother passed down the tradition of coloring eggs to my mom Kohad, and my mom to me and my siblings. I love the fact that I passed down this tradition to my children and that this tradition connects us to the Armenian highlands.
Are there any special objects that she had?
My Medz Mama's treadle sewing machine is a special object that I see every day in my home. Her sewing machine has special meaning to me because it connects me to her as a granddaughter, artist, and human being. I remember my grandmother watching her at her sewing machine in her home. There was always a new garment she'd be creating for a family member. In fact, she was in constant creation mode. My grandmother created original designs, making her own patterns from newspaper. Her expertise and mastery was top-notch. I remember my mom would say that, even during the Great Depression of the 1930s, her classmates thought her family was wealthy because of the way my grandmother would design their clothes. But as an Armenian genocide survivor and newcomer to this country, she faced many challenges. I really believe if my grandmother's circumstances were different, she would have gone to post-secondary school for a career in fashion design.
If she were here, what would you say to her?
I am so proud and humbled to be your granddaughter. Your life journey is an example of resilience that I will return to again and again. There are times I imagine what it would be like to spend time with you, either making a meal together or creating a garment design together, and the stories we would share together. Most of all, I love you, Grandma.